Hello, I'm Dr. Gregory Baroza, and I'm broadcasting under the titles of Horse Stock and Talking Horses to bring you some information about the impending Kentucky Derby this Saturday, September 5th, covered on NBC. The race, I believe, is scheduled to go off at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and there'll be coverage, to the best of my understanding, starting as early as 3 p.m., and probably some of the other sports channels will cover it even earlier in the day. Check with your local representatives. Anyway, I'm here to talk about Tiz the Law, which I believe is going to be the winner. He's definitely the favorite going into the race, and you could say, well, that's easy. You're going to pick the favorite to be the winner, but it doesn't always work that way. Favorites don't always win. But in this case, I think he's a super horse, and he deserves a lot of attention. Whether you make any money betting on him is another issue, but I'm not much of a gambler. I just am telling you about the horse. He's a super good-looking, athletic 3-year-old thoroughbred racehorse, and he won this year's 2020 Belmont Stakes. In fact, he's won the last 4 of his previous 4 graded stakes races, as a 3-year-old. He won the Travers in Saratoga, Grade 1. He won the Grade 1 Champaign, the Grade 3 Holy Bull, and the Grade 1 Florida Derby. That combination of winning races is extremely impressive, and it probably gives him the greatest credentials of anyone in the race this coming Saturday. But a horse race isn't won until it's run. This year we were hit by this corona viral pandemic, and the sports world, including horse racing, was turned upside down on its head. So the historic Belmont Stakes, which is usually the last race of the Triple Crown Series at 1.5 miles, the longest distance of all 3, called the Race of Champions, it was moved up to become the first race. It was raced in late June at 1 1/8 miles. And so it was not necessarily a sprint, but it was a short distance race. And Tiz the Law won easily. Now we have the impending 2020 Kentucky Derby, which will be run at its traditional 1.25 miles. It's just being run as the middle crown of the Triple Crown Series, with the Preakness to follow in October at the short sprinter distance of 1.16 miles. Well, does Tiz the Law have a real chance of winning the Kentucky Derby? Is he deserving of being the solid favorite? And I would say absolutely. Could he win that and then potentially go on and win the Preakness? Again, I give it another absolutely. I'm rooting for him. I know that in previous years when we didn't have Triple Crown winners, it was important to root for some horse, any horse, to win. But this horse truly deserves our attention. His well-seasoned salty trainer, Barclay Tagg, along with his life partner and assistant trainer, Robin Smolin, have both patiently been working and waiting a lifetime for a second chance at such a historic feat. So too have several of the Saratoga, New York syndicated Sackatoga Stables connections, led by founder Jack Knowlton. Their former great 2003 contestant, Funnyside, won the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness, but then came a very close second in the Belmont. That must have been a tough pill to swallow. However, after a lot of years of dedication and hard work, their hope is renewed. Now, some 17 years later, they got a second chance, second bite at the apple. Very few people get into any of the Triple Crown races, let alone all 3, let alone a second chance at winning the Triple Crown. Well, I've personally handled or been up close to several Triple Crown contenders. A few of those include Secretariat in 1973, Charismatic in 1999, Big Brown in 2008, I'll Have Another in 2012, more recently American Pharoah in 2015, and Justice in 2018. Those 2, along with Secretariat, having been Triple Crown winners. And yes, this year I was up close just prior to the Belmont to see Tiz the Law. Beautiful horse, beautiful conditioning, appears to be as sound and beautiful as any thoroughbred racehorse I've ever seen. He runs a very close second to my all-time favorite, Secretariat. There is no horse, in my experience to date, that is compared with Secretariat. I also have a personal prejudice rooting for Tiz the Law because the connections have been so hardworking and dedicated to supporting thoroughbred racing for many years, from the trainers, the assistant trainers, the grooms, and the syndicate partners who put in money to keep this campaign going. They've all been patiently working and conditioning this racehorse, Tiz the Law, to give him his best chances for success this coming Saturday. Hopefully their up-and-coming jockey, Manny Franco, who had not won a Triple Crown race before, won his first Belmont and then his first Travers on Tiz the Law, and he's now got a shot at the Derby and the Preakness. Interestingly, the Travers is 1.25 miles. That's the same distance at the Kentucky Derby that will be run this coming Saturday. I'm also a huge fan of Franco's agent. Many people don't realize it's Angel Cordero, one of racing's best and most accomplished Hall of Fame jockeys, also himself a heavily seasoned Triple Crown contender, having ridden many horses and won several of the big Triple Crown races. I believe he ranks currently 7th in all-time wins of jockeys in the history of thoroughbred racing, and his career was cut short. He didn't get to race as much as he would have liked to. I do personally recall the days of Secretariat and how the spirits of the U.S. were lifted, causing Secretariat to end up on the cover of Time magazine and some other magazines, and then be included in the top 100 athletes of the past century, and because he won the Triple Crown. That was in an era in 1973 when the U.S. was in a terrible financial depression. We were still in disharmony due to the Vietnam War and the fighting of it, which didn't end theoretically till 1975. And there hadn't been a Triple Crown winner in 30 years. Well, that's not our case now. We've had a couple of Triple Crown winners within that time period, such as American Pharoah and Justice. However, it's still an accomplishment of epic proportions, especially in this year's situation. The U.S. and the world are in the midst of a viral pandemic due to this coronavirus. They're financially and socially challenged, and there is such adversarial animosity in Washington, D.C. on the political front that we're all divided. Amidst the weakness in the exciting live sports events, the 2-minute Kentucky Derby this coming Saturday will probably be watched on TV by more people than ever previously watched the Kentucky Derby on their TVs in the past. Although there'll be no fans present, the backdrop and excitement of significantly powerful historic consequences of this event can be viewed by all of us right in our living rooms. I pray for a safe race and a superior performance in this year's Kentucky Derby by the odds-on favorite Tiz the Law. Please follow any of the YouTube prompts that I give you if you want more information. And thank you to Adam Coglianese of New York Racing Association for having supplied me with some photo ops. Thanks again, and we wish Tiz the Law the best chance and a safe ride.